Hey everyone, how are you all doing? Today I'm going to be taking a look at the Marvel Legends X-Men 97, aka the continuation of X-Men the Animated Series, Bishop. And this was definitely my most anticipated figure from the wave for two reasons. One, it's an entirely new sculpt, and two, I don't have a Bishop figure. And Bishop is a character that I know, like, basically nothing. I know, like, the bare minimum about him, but he's one that's always piqued my interest. He's always had like a really cool look about him. He just seems like a cool guy. And this figure is no exception to that. So without further ado, let's get into what he comes with. And pretty much everything that he comes with, you can see is currently on him. He does come with an alternate fist for his right hand, and this is actually pretty nice. It's got a nice sculpt on it. You can actually see that, like, some wrinkles. It looks like a glove. It doesn't look like just a painted hand, which is really cool, and that has a back and forth hinge. And then he also comes with a trigger finger hand for the left side, but as I was opening the box, it exploded out and went flying. I was very lucky to find the fist hand, so I have absolutely no idea. Tore the whole entire room apart. Couldn't find that other hand. So he does come with that, and it's an up and down hinge, which is just like this side, which is really cool. So you can have him dual wielding stuff if you wanted to. So that's really cool. But then you also obviously get this hand, which is really nice, is a back and forth, and it's a grip hand. But it also does have a trigger. So if you do want to just use that as a trigger finger hand for him, it doesn't have the up and down hinge, unfortunately, but you can still get some pretty cool stuff out of it. And then also one thing that I thought would be an accessory, but is not, is his like bandana piece thing, because it is, you know, it's floating here, but it actually is plugged into the back, which is kind of cool. So if you're looking to remove that, you're gonna have to, you know, deal with a hole in the back and all that stuff. And I also, it's supposed to be red and it's more of an orange, but I don't hate it. I think it looks okay. I like the little splash of color that he has. And I'll also get a closer look at his gun, because this is actually a really cool gun. I don't know if we've ever seen this before, and I do wish it would have had a little bit more paint on it, but it's really nice. I really dig it. It looks very Cable-esque, which is really cool. It kind of looks like it might be a taser, or it'll shoot toast out, one of those two. It is a little bit flimsy, so be careful. You don't want it to warp, you know, from trying to get it in and out of his hand so much. But it looks really nice. It could probably do with either a black wash or maybe a gunmetal wash, although with the fact that it is from the 97 animated series, it makes sense that it would just be one color. It wouldn't necessarily have that shading on it. So in that aspect, I personally think it's forgivable. But if it was more of a comic book version of Bishop, I would say that it would have been nice to have. And then speaking of this being a 97 version of the character, he also has short hair, which I actually kind of dig it. I do. I really like it. And it obviously offers a lot more movement in terms of his head. And also, oh man, I don't know what it is, Hasbro, but you're getting so much better when it comes to the face printing tech, because you can't even tell that this is like face printed. It looks so clean, so nice. The mold, the plastic that it's molded in, and like the way that it's printed on here, none of it's shiny at all. It looks so nice, so crisp. Like you can see it. It's not shiny, it's not really reflective at all. It just looks so beautiful. Head sculpt wise, honestly, this might be the best head sculpt we've gotten this year just because of that. And then I did almost forget to mention, but we are going over the details right now, so we'll do that. His gun can go in the holster back here, which is really nice. I do like that. That's really cool that he has some storage for that. And I do really like the over-the-shoulder kind of holster for him. That's really neat. And something of note as well when it comes to this, I thought his shoulders would have been floating, you know, like the shoulder pads would have been floating like the some of the Iron Mans have now, but it first showed up on the Star Wars The Black Series stuff, like the Stormtroopers and that, but they aren't. I'm pretty sure they're glued into his torso, so like you can get them around and all that stuff, and they're pliable to a degree, but they don't rotate. And I've tried to like mess with it, but you can see it's starting to like bend and warp as I do that, and I'm afraid that I'm gonna tear it off, and that's kind of scary. And it makes sense though that it doesn't do it on the holster side, because otherwise the gun would try to rotate all the way around him. But the other side, I would imagine, you know, I thought that would have done that, but it is what it is, I guess. And back to the gloves, you can kind of see it's a little bit more prevalent on these grip hands as opposed to the fist hand that I showed. But you can see the nice line work, the stitching going throughout his gloves, which look really nice. These are floating pieces also on his wrists. So if you wanted to use this as like a base for something, I honestly, when I was looking at this, because I just got my Luke Cage yesterday, imagine if they, you know, took the glove tops off and all that stuff, and they painted the pants like in more of a jeans type color. It's got the pockets. You could give him some boots. Obviously change the torso up and stuff like that, but maybe you could use the arms, like use these as like t-shirt sleeves and give us a Luke Cage, because this is a bigger body, you know, in that. And I think that you definitely could get like a cool Luke Cage out of this. If you really wanted to like go hard with some customizing, I think that this could be turned into a Luke Cage, and a kick-ass one at that. And then he has the line, you know, the yellow line with the black stripe going down, which looks really nice as well. He's got the X logo right here, which is painted very nicely. Let's get that to focus a little bit better. Just painted very nicely. I love that. It's got the little slot type things in the belt. Like I said, he's got the pockets here on his pants. The yellow does go onto the back here, and it is sculpted, by the way, in case that you were curious about that, because I thought it was just painted when I was looking at it, but I feel like it probably would have missed a little bit if it was just painted. And then his boots are more of a navy color. It's kind of throwing me off that his boots are a navy color, just because I feel like his gloves and boots would have matched. But I don't know, I kind of like it. I feel like, you know, they were like, oh, here's your suit. And he went, nah, it needs a little something. So he put the gloves on, and then he threw the, like, bandana thing on. I feel like that's, and then he was like, all right, this is now my costume, you know? But I really dig this. And so let's now go over articulation. It is the now kind of standard, I don't even know what to call it anymore, but the ball joint, the double ball peg, whatever. So his head can go a little bit far forward, a little bit back, a little bit of tilt, rotation. His shoulders go out to about there. It goes a little bit farther on this side. Oh, shit. His arm started to pop off there. That's not good. Definitely got to watch that. But the one arm goes up a little bit higher than the other because of the way, I guess, the shoulder pad is made. They rotate all the way around, but it is going to run into the shoulder pads on both sides. He's got bicep swivel, double jointed elbows that go up all the way with ease. Like I said, he's got the up and down hinge for the trigger finger hands, and then the non-trigger finger hands, he has back and forth hinges. As for his torso, it can go that far forward, it can go that far back. He's got waist swivel. His legs go out pretty freaking far, which is really nice. They go that far forward and that far back, which is really good. He's got thigh swivel, double jointed knees that go up all the way with absolute ease. He does have a boot swivel, and then his feet go back that far, up that far, and he does have ankle pivot. And now onto some size comparisons. Here he is next to the only figures that I currently have from this wave. I will be getting Rogue tomorrow. The Magneto and the Wolverine, who I took a look at yesterday, if you guys want to go back and watch that video. And I really like this scaling. I think it's really cool that Bishop's a lot bigger, a lot broader. And then here he is next to Luke Cage, because I've been talking about that so much. And then the Silver Centurion Iron Man. And this looks really good as well. I like the scaling between the three of them as well. Bishop's head's kind of looking a little bit farther forward. But, I mean, tell me I'm wrong, though. Like, how cool would it be if they took this Bishop body, you know, parts and pieces from it, and they made a more modern Luke Cage, where he's got just the t-shirt and the jeans and that? I think that would be pretty cool. And then here he is next to, as always, the 20th anniversary Captain America, and then the Mafex Hush Nightwing. And I think these look great together as well. If you wanted to throw Bishop into some classic Avengers shots, you could do that. And then if you wanted to also mix and match him with your Mafex stuff, I think that would work well as well, because, you know, he's bigger, broader, like I've said multiple times throughout this video. So you can kind of fudge him into a Mafex display. I feel like, anyway. Overall, I thoroughly enjoy this figure. Like I said, I have like an attachment to Bishop, but I don't know anything about him. And oh, also one thing I did forget to mention with the detail is that he actually has some like black around his collar for the edge of his suit, which is really nice. I like that. That is a very subtle detail that they did not have to do, and I do appreciate that. I don't know if that's really going to come across on there, but that looks really nice. And then also, we didn't really take a super close look at the head sculpt, which I forgot about, but the head sculpt looks really nice, and the M on his head and everything. And I mean, just look at that. Like, it's not shiny at all. It looks so nice and so clean. This is my favorite head sculpt of the year that we've gotten. I'm so serious. Absolutely my favorite head sculpt of the year. But this figure, he's really fun to pose around. He's got great articulation. Nothing's super stiff on him or anything like that. The only thing I am worried about now is that bicep popping off a little bit. But other than that, he comes with the, you know, his gun. You can definitely give him other guns if you wanted to. Like, hey, honestly, that's not a bad idea. Since it is kind of a sort of cheap kind of looking blaster that came with, I think it was Nebula, you could definitely give this to Bishop, I feel like, because it'll look kind of animated and fit in with that style of the show. But the articulation's great. The paint's great. It's simple, yet not too simple, if that makes sense. I like the design of the character for the show. I like the gun that he comes with. All of it is just really nice. And definitely bang for your buck, I feel like. So yeah, that's going to do it for me, and I will catch you all in the next one. See ya.